Hello guys, this video is going to be all about the Get process. So how to start recruiting your people, how to run the whole recruitment process, and then how to run the onboardment before closing the recruitment process. To bear in mind is that this video, it's an overview of the Get process. When we go step by step in each one of the phases of the process, you're going to have the possibility to click on a button and then access a PPT that explains more into detail each one of the steps. But for now, let's just go with the overview of the process. This video is going to explain you what exactly you need to do step by step in order to recruit the right people in your LC. First, why is even Get important as a process? Well, the answer to this question is you cannot run your operations and you cannot expect your LC to perform if you first of all don't have the right people in your organization. So we implement the Get process for us to make sure that we recruit the best people possible to match our needs in our LCs. So step by step, running the Get process means, first of all, building a persona, then running talent planning, then having talent attraction, talent selection and allocation, and then running onboarding. These are step by step the points that we're going to go through in this video, and you have, again, I repeat, the possibility to check individually PPTs explaining each one of these steps. So starting with the first one, in order for you to start recruitment, first you need to know who you want to recruit and who you need at this point in your LC. So for this, you need to build your persona. Usually, you're going to have the persona downscaled from the MC team, and this is already aligned with the global persona. So what you need is just to ask yourself, do I need to focus on a specific group age? Do I need to focus on a specific faculty? Do I have very, very specific characteristics that I'm searching in the members and the future members of my LC? So according to these questions and according to your needs, of course, you can plug and play and adapt the national persona to your local committee and to your needs. If you want to know more about how to build your persona and what exactly are the steps that you need to follow, you can click on this button and you're going to find the PPT explaining just the persona part. Then, moving forward, once you know who you want to recruit for your LC, you need to do talent planning. But for this, you need to align your recruitment timeline to the operational timeline. The suggested dates for this to happen is November, December, so running a recruitment in November, December for winter peak, and May and June for summer peak. This means that the winter recruitment would be November, December, and summer recruitment would be May and June. Why is this the recommended timeline, and why is it important to have the timeline aligned with operations? Well, this is because you recruit for these members to perform on one of the areas that you have in your LC or both, according to how many products you're running. So unless these members can perform according to the operational timeline, why are you even recruiting them in the first place? You need to take into consideration that we work with our partners, and in order for us to do exchange, we need to take into consideration the timeline of other entities, and this is why the operational timeline is aligned with the global approval peaks, and we need to recruit people in order for these members to have a good, how can I say, a good amount of work to be done. Because if you run recruitment after the peak already finishes, you're not going to have tasks to delegate to these people. Therefore, they're going to get disengaged and they're going to lose their motivation and they're going to lose the desire to be in the organization. So by the time the next peak is here, you need to do recruitment again because all your members left. So this is why it's important to have the recruitment timeline aligned with the operational timeline. So after you do this recruitment alignment part, you need to set your organizational structure in such a way to support the amount of exchanges that you need to do. So you need to talk to your VP's operations and see what is their planning in terms of exchanges for the next peak. And then according to this, you can calculate how many, or you can simulate how many members you're going to need for each area and for each JD inside of the department. And after you do this, make sure you run performance review and talent review. Performance review basically consists in reviewing the performance of your current members and then seeing that based on their performance in the previous semester, if you want to keep them in the organization or not, or if you want to reallocate them to another area that they would enjoy more. And talent review has to do with designing an ideal structure and then comparing the ideal structure with the number of members that you have in this moment in your LC, and then seeing what is the HR gap. And then, of course, you can calculate the number of people that you need to recruit in order to fill in this gap. So this is what talent planning is all about. After you finish talent planning, we can move to talent attraction. So in order for us to attract possible candidates, first we need to create a recruitment campaign and set the goals for attraction. So how many signups do we want, and what should be the conversion between sign up and people that show up at the interviews, and then people that show up at the interviews and people that end up in the group dynamic, and then finally people that are recruited. So for this, you need to plan a recruitment goal, you need to have a target audience, you need to know what are the channels that you're going to promote your campaign, and what is going to be your main message based on the value proposition that we have for our membership. So how can we shape our message during recruitment for people to really see the value of taking this opportunity? And the last step, and maybe the most obvious one, is of course executing this campaign and making sure that during the campaign we are really targeting the persona that we built in the beginning. So all these steps that are following one after the other, they need to be very, very well aligned. After we finish talent attraction, or actually the way that we run it is that we run talent attraction at the same time with talent selection allocation. So we attract people, and at the same time we schedule interviews and we schedule group dynamics for them to go through the selection process. For you to run a very good selection process, you cannot do this alone, just you VPTM. So you need to have either support from your EB or support from other current members in your LC that are going to be recruiters for this recruitment. And if they're going to help you, of course, you need to make them on board and to train them according to what are going to be the steps of the selection process. Tell them what is the persona that you're searching for. They need to know everything about the campaign. So by the time that they're going to meet these people during the interviews and the group dynamics, they should know what to observe in these people and how to spot what are the good candidates or not. Something that you need to take into consideration during the whole selection and attraction flow is do not forget about ISEC values and the core competences. These are things that needs to be a must in our candidates, so always take this into consideration. Something else that we take into consideration for the selection and allocation process is that we usually recruit people only for front office, so for IGV and OGV, and not necessarily for finance or TM, because you need to have some experience in the organization in order to run properly the back office areas. So what we do is we map out the potential for these new candidates to be VPTM or VP Finance in the future, but first they need to go through the front office for them to understand better our products. And last but not least, make sure that you give feedback to all the rejected or approved candidates for them to first have a good candidate experience, but then also know what is the reason for this answer that they got. So if they were elected, if they were selected to be part of ISEC, why is this happening? And then if they were not selected to be part of ISEC, again, why? If you want to know more about talent and selection, click right here, and you can find the PPT explaining just this step. Moving forward, the last step of recruitment and get process is talent onboarding. So talent onboarding refers to the first 10 days after these new members were selected to be part of ISEC. And in these first 10 days, they're going to have different activities and trainings on functional knowledge according to the area that they were allocated in, but also related to what is ISEC as an organization. So this includes explaining them the job description, what are their measures of success, the key performance indicators, understanding what is the routine and the behaviors expected from them as ISEC members, and also making sure that they are included in your database where you count and you keep track of the amount of members that you have in the organization. So this is the last step of the recruitment process. Recruitment cannot be considered done if you do not do onboarding. And this is it. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video when we're going to talk about develop process.